let us go to the book of Daniel, chapter 1, where I told you that we will be dwelling in the book of Daniel. We see truly, as we read from the book of Jeremiah 29, verse 11, God has good plans for us. That He has this plan that we will die at our early age. Because some of the dates which will come, it is because of what mostly we eat. When I was also doing the same from Kenya Bureau of Statistics, there's one thing they said about which is this thing causes a lot of people to die. Allow me to read this one before I go to the book of Daniel. Allow me to read this one before I go to the book of Daniel. This is World Health Organization. World Health Organization. The key facts. There was one of the statements which was saying like this. That is actually the very first statement. It was saying this: healthy diets are crucial for optimal health. Yet, globally, unhealthy diet is one of the top risk factors for the global burden of disease. You can go and search. This is the result which was gotten from World Health Organization. Recently, I think it was in the year 2024, they say that most of these deaths, most of the diseases come because of what? Because of diet. Most of these deaths come because of diet. Let me continue reading it. Nearly 1 in 3 people suffers from at least one form of malnutrition, and a large part of the world's population. That is, if we are like now, that is my brother Joshua, and also my elders, 3 of you, that one of you might be suffering from a malnutrition disease. And actually, it is proven that it is very true. And a large part of the world's population is affected by diet diseases such as heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and cancer. As we were seeing that document, we saw that most of the diseases, most of the deaths come because of the meals which we take. That is why even our first parents, they were tested. Of course, they were tested about obedience, but the first thing which they were tested, it is because of what? It is because of diet. And in fact, that is why Satan knows that if I test Joshua about this one, this thing actually we do see even in our lives today. We do see it clearly. That in any celebration, they must do what? If you want to call a celebration, what can you introduce? Yeah? If it's a good celebration, to say that we are going to Embu University for a social Sunday. Of course, yes, we are going to enjoy there. But if there is no food in between, we cannot call it a social Sunday. So meal is very crucial, and that is why I want to bring this topic. Today we see that why does most of the people die on our way at a very early ages? There is something which we have done which is not wrong, which is not right. When we read from the book of Genesis, of course we want to see now the deity which our first parents were given. Which is this deity our first parents were given? And mostly we will be dwelling on cases on health from the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse number 29, verse 129. I want someone to read from the congregation so that I can know all of us are together. I am going to talk about the broken blueprint. the broken blueprint. Someone can read. Let me just give you a mic. Joshua, you can assist me in reading.
Verse 29. And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat.
Thank you very much. This one, of course, I forgot to introduce. In health, we have 8 laws which governs. We have 8 laws which governs. If you have good health, then every law from the first one until the last one, it is very crucial. And I can just mention them because I know, see, all of us, I think we understand all of them. But mostly I will be dwelling on one of them, that is nutrition. I will be dwelling, we have 8 laws of health. That is, the first one is God's blessings for total health. The blessing of, we have the first one. Of course, we have nutrition, we are going to dwell there, but we have this, the others are also very crucial as nutrition is very crucial. The other laws of health are very crucial as nutrition is also crucial. But I want to mention all of them in a summary. That is the first one of the blessing of exercise. Exercise is not merely an option, it is essential to maintain optimal health, both physical and also mental. Some of the people do neglect exercise, but we have seen that exercise is truly essential to maintain optimal health, both physical and mental. That is why if you are a teacher, you can't teach the children or the students for a long period of time. They need some time to do what? Of course, we are going to come about, that is rest, but they need to do even some exercise, some of them which are very simple. So it's very crucial for all the Christians, mostly like the aged people, they are encouraged even to walk for long, for a distance, so that even their muscles can be well. We have the blessing of sunlight. Sunshine promotes health and healing. We can go to the next one. The blessing of water, which is very crucial. In fact, there is a document talking about water. Water, if I can talk about water, we have a lot of therapies about water. Water, I can call it is like a medicine to all of us. But some of us, we have neglected. Drinking 6 to 8 glasses of pure water a day will aid in maintaining efficient, happy well-being. Another important function of water is its use for cleanliness and the relaxation it affords. So water is very crucial to human beings. We are encouraged that 6 to 8 glasses of pure water a day will aid in maintaining efficient well-being. Another important function of water is to use for cleanliness. I don't want to dwell there. God's blessing for total health, that is now the fresh air. An environment of impure air or outside the home causes the blood to carry less oxygen than is required for the optimal function of every cell. This tends to make a person less alert and responsive. We can go to the next one. This one I can read them because I told you that I want to dwell on nutrition. God's blessing for total health, the blessing of temperate, drug-free stimulant living. The Christian is surrounded with seductive invitations to use drugs, even when innocent appearing. Popular beverages contain drug, coffee, tea, and colas contain caffeine, and fruit-flavored wine coolers contain alcohol. And we know the effects of the caffeine in our body. We can go to the next one. Yeah, we have also the blessing of rest. Proper rest is essential. This one is also crucial for us as the students, mostly the students of IT. You need time to rest. Don't just be the whole night you are coding. Even if the code cannot go right, just stop there. Just have enough what? Have enough. Rest. Rest is very important and it's very crucial. In fact, if you don't have enough rest, even your mind, you cannot be able to reason very well, or when you are in class, you can't get some of the things in the right way. I know that we have these gadgets, and most of us are in TikTok, these social medias. Some of you in TikTok, ni mkutano huwa inakuanga ama ni nini? Yeah, you see that some of the people can be in TikTok until even 4 in the morning. You deny your mind. Your body needs a rest. It's very crucial. If you want to operate your day very well, then we are encouraged that almost 8 hours, that is, you sleep 2 hours before midnight, around what? Around 10. 10 is late. We can be sleeping at 9. Sindio? Can we try that one? If you love your body and if you want to live long, you can try this one. I think it is very possible if you can be able to organize yourself very well by exactly around even 9:30, 10. We try as much as possible because all of us want to live long. We want to have, even if someone cannot live long, but you can live, even if you can die at the age of around 60 years, but you live a life which is quality. You don't have a lot of complication in between. It is my wish, even if you can live a very short life, but a life which is quality, no disease. We can go to the next one. That is the blessing of total health. Recreation is, Yeah, I think there are some of the things which we should now avoid. I didn't want to dwell in here, but let me read it, what is here. Movies, television, radio, and videos. Television and videos make greater impact on the life of an individual than does any other single activity. The committed Christians will turn away from unwholesome, violent, sensual movies and television programs. Another thing that is bad recreation, reading and music. Good music enhances the finest qualities of character. The best music, on the other hand, destroys the rhythm of the soul and breaks down morality. Yet, there is also a flood of evil literature, often in most attractive gaze. We have some of the unacceptable. I think this one, wangapi tunachezanga hii? Have you seen this one? Do we have victims in here? Adventists also teach that gambling, card playing, theater going, and dancing are to be avoided. Someone can confirm that one from the book of 1 John 2:15 to 17. Joshua, you can read. Of course, I think that is now the dangerous thing which has evolved nowadays, and it is affecting most of the youths about gambling. Gambling is just like a chance. You try. But we are encouraged from the Bible, from the book of Genesis, that if you want good money, then you must work for it. You must do what? You must sweat. Not in chance. God is not a God of chance. If He wants to bless you, He will bless you by just doing something small. Then you will get a lot of blessing from there. Joshua, have you gotten the verse?
Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world.
Yes.
If any man love the world,
If anyone loves the world,
the love of the Father is not in him.
thank you. The question spending time watching violent sporting events. Truly, of course, I know that that is the generation where we are. But as Christians, we really need not to be like them. Gambling, in fact, it has killed a lot of young people, and this one, it has also escalated even to the big the other generation. That is the other generation. You can find that there are some of the people who can do gambling, but that was not my intention for today. My intention of today, it was the next slide, which is saying about what God is blessing for total health, the blessing of nutritious food. If you see that madam, she has some of the I can call some of the vegetables and also some of the fruits inside that bag. This is when we read now from the book of Genesis 1 verse number 29. I will also request my brother Joshua to reread it again. We see this is the first food which God granted us. And can it be that because we have neglected from eating one way or the other, that is why we have a lot of death? Can it be? We are going to see it. Joshua, read it.
And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat.
Thank you. You can go and also 3 verse 18. The same book, Genesis 3 verse 18.
3 verse 18. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field.
Thank you. When we read about the book of Genesis, we are seeing that, and God said, that is 1 verse number 29, and God said, See, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth. At the beginning, God gave human beings plants, that is the herbs, to be used as what? As their meat, or as their food, as we can call it. When you read King James, most of King James, it talks about the meat. But sincerely speaking, not the real meat. It is talking about what? The food which we eat. So when you read some of the versions, you must be very keen and say that, oh wow, this is very nice. If King James Version can say that, eat as much as possible. But we have seen that the original blueprint of God, which He gave to us as human beings, is that every tree, every plant which we as the human beings we plant in our gardens, in our vineyard, it is very good for our health. That one, we will go at the book of counsel, that is ministry, counsels on food, counsels on diet and food. Before we go to the counsels on diet, that is diet and food, we can read that is counsels on health 127.1. 127.1.
I am instructed to bear a message to
this one who is speaking ears, and I that because all of us are Seventh-day Adventist church, all of us believe the testimony of Jesus Christ. And the testimony of Jesus Christ is the spirit of prophecy. Read.
I am instructed to bear a message to all our people.
To bear a message to one person.
to all our people on the subject of health reform, for many have backslidden from their former loyalty to health reform principles.
Have you finished? You
Dot
can-
2. Dot 2.
Yeah, you can read dot
Dot
2.
2.
please.
God's purpose for his children is that they shall grow up to the full stature of men and women in Christ. In order to do this, they must use aright every power of mind, soul, and body. They cannot afford to waste any mental or physical strength.
When we read from the book Counsels on Health, yes, it says that instructed to bear a message to all the people on the subject of health, their former loyalty to health reform principles. God's purpose for his children is that they shall grow up to the full stature of men and women in Christ. In order to do this, they must use aright every power of mind, soul, and body. They cannot afford to waste any mental or physical strength. So, as we have read from Genesis, that is now 3 verse 18 also, both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat. Joshua, you can have this. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of your face you shall eat bread. So we are encouraged that we see now God, after creating Adam and Eve, he placed them in the Garden of Eden. When you read about the history or about the characteristics of this Garden of Eden, we see there it was like a garden. Almost every tree, they were instructed that both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. So here we see that God's original plan, that is why I say that our topic will be that the broken blueprint. There is somewhere we have done, of course, a mistake. And Ellen G. White is telling us we must return to this blueprint where we have done wrong. Because all of us want to enjoy life. All of us want to live a life which is good. And that is the wish of God. When we read from the book of, 1 John. 1 John. It is dead, not first, I think. Verse 2. 1 verse 2, you can.
Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth.
Thank you very much. Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health just as your soul prospers. So it is the will of God that our health should do what? Should prosper. It should be well. So meaning some of the diseases which come to us, it means that there is something which we have done wrong. We have seen that the original diet which human beings were given, it was from plant. Of course, we are going to come to understand that now, during the time of Noah, that is where the introduction of meat was allowed, and it was because of a situation. But we have seen that the original plan of God is that human beings were to live well. We have confirmed it here that, beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health just as your soul prospers. So it is the wish of God that in everything which we eat, in everything which we drink, then the glorification of God must be done what? It must be seen. The glorification of God must be seen in anything which we do. Mostly now on what we drink and also on what we eat. It is very crucial, sons and daughters of God, because we need to live a life, not our own life, but the life of Jesus Christ. We can also read from Genesis chapter 9, verse 3 to 5. We see here that only after the flood did God introduce flesh as food. With all vegetation destroyed, God gave Noah and his family permission to eat flesh foods. And he was given a regulation on the type of animals he was to do what? He was to eat. It is because of the situation when Noah told the people, this earth will be destroyed. But people, most of the people, in fact, they did not hear the call of Noah. That is why now God said that I will destroy this earth with flood. There was a lot of flood. Therefore, God could not allow all the people to do what? To die. There were those faithful people who remained, that is the family of Noah. He instructed them to eat what was clean. And also we are going to see in the book of Leviticus, chapter 11, verse number 1, where Moses was commanded also to give the children of Israel some of the instruction on what to eat. Have you reached there? I was speaking this so that you can. Genesis 9, 3 to 5.
9 verse 3. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. And surely your blood of your lives will I require, at the hand of every beast will I require it, and at the hand of man, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man.
Thank you. In fact, I had mentioned that one. We see the first introduction of meat, but at the beginning, did we see God introducing maybe flesh to our first parents? Did we see? The first encounter, even right, is during the time of Noah, where we see now there was introduction of meat. And it was that situation. But nowadays, do we have plants and also vegetables which we can be able to use as food? See, we have them. In fact, when I was doing that research and that thing which I read, let me read also the second statement. It also spoke to me. It also spoke to me. The second statement, this is some of the factors which has led to most of the deaths which we have today. It was saying, the second point was saying that access to food is often related to economic power, inequality, discrimination, and social status. So, some people have more difficulty accessing a healthy diet than others. Of course, that is true. Good nutrition in early life is critical, and babies should exclusively breastfeed for first 6 months and continue to breastfeed for 2 years or longer. That is an advice to the parents. Listen to this one. This one, I think it is very good. It is speaking to us. Highly processed and energy dense. This is from the World Health Organization. Some of the factors which has made many people to do what? To die. Highly processed and energy dense nutrients, poor foods have become cheaper, more widely available. Too often, people are eating too many foods high in calories, fat, sugars, and salt, while not eating enough fruits, vegetables, and pulses. In fact, this is World Health Organization speaking about that most of the people nowadays, of course, where I am one of them, where I believe also that some of us are one of them, that we have dwelt on mostly the processed foods. When I was reading the other day when I was reading about even the introduction of the white maize, you will see originally, there is a parents in the years like in 17th, 18th centuries, in Africa, mostly we didn't have the white maize. The white maize came from, there is the white people. Mostly we had, this yellow maize. How many of you, when in your local homes, how many of you plant this yellow maize? I see a Roomba there. Yes. In fact, that was the indigenous food for Africa. The maize, and when you read it very well, that is the meal, or that is the maize which we are supposed to do what? But nowadays, in fact, you can't see them in our plants, in our vineyards. It means that Satan is also working on the other side. Of course, I have not said that the other is very bad. I have not said that one. But our indigenous one, which add a lot of nutrients, is the yellow one. We have seen that as now generation goes in, that is why most of the people who are suffering even from sugar, high blood pressure, you are being recommended that go and take what? Go and take yellow. Or you can be advised that go and take what we call the sorghum. It is because it has some of the nutrients which the other one doesn't have. That the other one doesn't have. The next point was saying that a healthy diet balance calorie consumption with energy expenditure and should emphasize a balance of protein, fiber-rich carbohydrates, and also unsaturated fat. So it's all upon us. The health message, it does not come by force. It is you yourself to go and study and know that truly the original meal or the original deity which our first parents were given, it was from the field, that is from the vineyard. But now because of some of the situation, of course, meat was introduced. Researchers have done some research which mostly when you are suffering from these heart diseases, you are told that you should not do what? You should not eat flesh. So it's a plea to all of us that we should study this and understand. It has come to the right moment of us, because all of us, who doesn't want to live a good life? See, all of us want to live a good life. And then if we want to live a good life, we must take a personal initiative. You go and study very well. That is why Daniel, when the king brought a lot of food to him, Joshua, you can be there. The book was Daniel chapter 1, verse 7 until ufike verse number 11, I think. We see Daniel knew that the type of food I must take, it must help me. And actually, we see that one as very simple, but when you read Daniel chapter 2, Daniel chapter 7, the type of food which this man was consuming, it helped him even to do what? To interpret the king's dream, which most of the people, the magicians, were not able. It's because of prayer and also the type of food he was taking. Joshua, read it.
Verse 7, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave them names, for he gave unto Daniel the name Belteshazzar,
Yes.
and to Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael of Meshach, and to Azariah of Abednego. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now God had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink. For why should he see your faces worse liking than the children which are of your sort? Then shall he make me endanger my head to the king. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Ananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink.
Thank you. Just leave at that place. Verse number 8 says that, but Daniel, let me read verse number 5. And the king appointed for them a daily provision of the king's delicacies and of the wine which he drank, and 3 years of training for them, so that at the end that time they might serve before the king. So the king was preparing these young men for the greater things which was to come. And for the king, he thought that by giving them the type of meal he was eating, you can imagine yourself the type of meal where, like for instance, our president takes. That is the meal of a king. Then there is this man, because he had learned. Because you can't deny something which you have not learned. Sindio? Yeah. Daniel knew the consequences which was to follow. That is why he purposed, but Daniel purposed in his heart that he will not defile himself with the portion of the king's delicacies, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore, he requested of the chief of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Daniel was. Does someone have? I have NIV version. Kuna mtu mwenye kuna NIV? Yeah, Elder, you can read.
NIV. It says, but Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine.
With the royal resolve, it is from NIV. It is telling us that he resolved. But when we see from King James, that is New King James version, it is telling us he purposed from. So it is something I cannot come today and tell you, Joshua, that you must do this and that. And it is something which must come from you. Even if I can force you, you can't, of course. But you must do what? You must purpose from your heart. You must see these consequences of which are falling. When we were seeing that graph or that statistics from the year, it was year 2021, I think there was also some of the years. We saw that most of the deaths come because of the malnutrition, because of the meals which we take. And it is all upon us that we must take that responsibility and read. Of course, we have been given a lot of resources. The counsels on diet, the counsels on health. In fact, I encourage all of us to go and read counsels on diet and also on health. If you want to save your life, if you want to live a life which is very quality. It is the purpose of God It is the will of God that all of us human beings, we must live a life which is worthy. Now these people, now Daniel, Ananias, and also the other friends, when they purpose, in fact it is Daniel who did what? Is the one who purposed in his heart. Verse number 16, not 16 but 15, Daniel 1 verse 15.
At the end of the 10 days, they looked healthy.
At the end of the 10 days,
they looked healthier and better nourished than any of the young men who ate the royal food.
Thank you very much. At the end of the 10 days, Daniel and the other friends, they were so healthy. We're going to see why now, read this. Will it help us in any way? Will it help us in any way? Of course, we have seen that it will help us. I want to finish by saying some few statements from here, as you also prepare your comments, and also if someone has a question. I know that it's a very big topic. I cannot be able to mention a lot of things at this few minutes which I have here. But I think there is also one thing which you want us to know. From the book 1 Corinthians 10 verse 31, it says that whether therefore you eat or drink or whatsoever you do all to the glory of God. Health is part of the gospel of God. And in fact, for our church, that is the Seventh-day Adventist Church, we are known, health is one of the pillars which we are known. The type of music which you can be identified easily that you are an Adventist because of what? Even the dressing and even the type of food which you eat. Because I think there is one moment I went, it was I was known that I am an Adventist. Then, of course, my friends, there was a lot of meals there. Then they said that, Maunga, will you eat now this meat because you are an Adventist? So the thing which I wanted to bring out is that the Seventh-day Adventist Church, we are known by what? The health message. All of us should embrace it and also teach, because I can't teach something which I don't do what I don't do. But you can tell a friend, because all of us want a good life. Ministry of Healing 127.1. Ministry of Healing 127. Ni kama Joshua utafika huko, si ndio? Let me just read it. And you can read it. .1.
I am Let
me just read it. 127.1, it says that the only hope of better things is in the education of the people in right principles. Let physicians teach the people that restorative power is not in drugs, but in nature. Of course, it is a counsel. We can take drugs, but what we should understand that the power of healing, the power is not in the drugs, but the restorative power is found in nature. It continues to say, but in nature, disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from a violation of the laws of health which we have said here, we have 8 laws of health. When you violate even one, then I think that is why nowadays we have a lot of diseases which come because of the nutrition or because of the meals which we take. In case of sickness, the cause should be ascertained, and health conditions should be changed, wrong habits corrected. Then nature is to be assisted in her effort to expel impurities and to re-establish right conditions in the system. This is a counsel which is very right to us, that we should understand. Of course, yes, we can take a lot of medication, but truly these medications, see, even the drugs, where does they come from? Drugs. See, most of them come from plants. So that is now the healing does not come from this plant, does not come from these drugs, but we can see where does it come from. If we take, that is why even like now, the preparation of meals, that is why I think, this is from my own thinking, that is why even our grandparents were living to a good age, around 100 years. It is because of the meals they were eating. Yes, they were eating meat, of course, that one I can't deny, they were eating meat. But during that time, you can see that our cows today, our goats, our sheep, they are given a lot of medication. They are like human beings. You eat a cow which has been given a lot of medication, like in CU, but we eat that type of meat. That is why some of the diseases come. If you look keenly, during the times, 17th centuries, yes, there were animals, they were taken, but these animals didn't have such diseases. That is why we counsel that such things we should understand very well and know that it has a lot of consequences to our body. I think I had a lot to speak, and I know that almost all of you can have something to speak about health, because who does not ajipendi yeye mwenyewe. So all of us want to care about ourselves. Then if we want to care about ourselves, the first thing which we should do is that we should look keenly on the type of meal which we take. I was to give you around, is it seven reasons why this health message is very crucial to us. But because I've seen the time has really gone, if there is any question from the congregation and any comment, kindly you can give. Let me see comments. 1. I want to see all the hands, then I know on how, that is 1, 2, on how I can be able to distribute. Then the questions. Before, you have a question? Yes. And also a comment. Another question? Another question or comment? Questions. Then you have simplified my time. This is very right. I will start with my brother because I said we will start with the comments, and then you will comment. After commenting, you will pose your question.
Happy Sabbath. Happy day. I'm reading my comment from the book of Last Day Events. The page is 81.5, 2.1. It says, God is trying to lead us back step by step to his original design that man should subsist upon the natural products of the earth. Among those who are waiting for the coming of the Lord, meat eating will eventually be done away with. Flesh will cease to form a part of their diet. We should ever keep this end in view and endeavor to work steadily toward it. That is also found in the book Councils on Health, page 4. 82.1 says, greater reform should be seen among the people who claim to be looking for the soon appearing of Christ. Health reform is to do among our people a work which has not yet been done. There are those who ought to be awake to the danger of meat eating, who are still eating the flesh of animals, thus endangering the physical, mental, and spiritual health. Many who are now only half converted of meat eating will go from God's people to walk normal with them. So, meat eating, flesh foods, meat, milk. Ushaienda hospitali ukapewa dawa, alafu ukaambiwa hiyo dawa usikunywe na maziwa? Ushajiuliza swali ni kwa nini? Ulipata jibu? What was the answer?
For example, there's this drug for anemia, inakwanga folic acid, IFAS. Drug used to boost your HB levels, hemoglobin levels when you or calcium, or calcium rich foods kama mayai, it reduces its absorption rate. It also reduces the absorption rate of the iron you are supposed to take. So it's not advisable to take milk or calcium rich foods with the drug. Juu haitafanya kazi yake vizuri. Yeah.
Thank you for the answer. Haitafanya kazi vizuri if you take it with milk or calcium rich foods like eggs, si ndio? Na ushaienda hospitali ukaambiwa usikunywe dawa na uji? Hakuna siku, si ndio? Ask yourself that question and answer yourself. Thank you.
Shikoko, start with the comment and then you give us your question. We try to answer it.
Well, thank you so much. I want to say some comment on the lesson of today which you have learned. And first I want to thank you for special dedication and the presentation. It was wow. May God bless you, the servant of God. What do you say to the servant of God? Very well. Now, I'm continuing by saying, first I want to speak about gluttony. We eat to live or live to eat. You know, as an African, most of the time when we eat because our mouth needs something to do what? To nibble or chew. Somebody saying chew. Okay, I see. You know, most of when we eat, we don't see that we eat because our body needs this, but we eat because of appetite. So, even Bible discourage gluttony or just eat because of eating. We should avoid that. And also, I want to speak about the junk food. You know, in America, when you go, people avoid eating junk food because of health. While in Africa, junk food are food that are being eaten when person gets salary. Yani end-month foods. Hiyo ndio siku ya kukula chipo na sambusa. So if we can avoid such things, well, I think we can make a step ahead. And also, I want to give some advice to my friends who are doing health reforms. You know, the Bible, let me just speak about something, not the Bible. When you decide to take some things and not to take some things, as a doctor, the doctor will tell you that this don't take it. There are some important what? Nutrients. It doesn't sound sweet, but there are some things which are in that meal that you are missing. And it is also poisonous as well as missing it. So when you decide to eat vegetable, don't just eat every time skuma na maragwe. Hiyo ndio diet yako. And you will be losing, because you will go to the hospital and you will be found ill. And you will start saying that Adventists are making you what? Ill. So you need also to look at your diet so that you should not lose what is important to your body. I know it might be expensive, but good things are expensive. Anyway, I'm going to the question. Thank you so much. So, there is a certain verse I want to read. My friend, before I can just state it, it is Ecclesiastes 10:19. You can project it. I went to my friend and I wanted to advise him about the state of the world, that we should not love the world and avoid wine and avoid other things. But he decided to read for me this verse. I don't know how he got it. It was so challenging. Have you found it? Ecclesiastes 10:19. It was so challenging. So I want to bring it to the church or to forums so that we can discuss it, so that I can understand what was the intention of the author, because God doesn't speak in vain. That MSB version said that laughter and bread go together, and wine gives sparkle to life. But it is money that makes the world go around. While King James Version, a feast is made for laughter, and the wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. But NKG, New King James Version, a feast is made of laughter, a wine makes merry, but money answer everything. So he was trying to tell me that when you want to enjoy life, you want to go to parties, you have to have money. First thing. Second thing, he mentioned that when you have to be happy, you have never experienced something so sweet, you have to taste sometime wine. And also the part, which part I'm losing? And part of that merry, enjoying life. Yeah, I mean, exposing to yourself in some things like party or anything that can make you happy in such a way that you think that we live once. So, when we read a lot of the scripture, we see that the Bible always focuses that we should not almost focus on the world, because worldly things are worldly things, and we should not focus on them. So, what was the intention of this verse? It is for the forum. Otherwise, as I meet.
Thank you for such a wonderful question. I think this one we will participate. Then from the congregation, the book I was reading it is 10 verse number 19. From my version, it says that a feast is made for laughter and wine makes merry, but money answers everything. Before maybe I respond, I can welcome my class. There is now the congregation. Whom goes first? Hawa, and then my brother there. Another person who wants to answer him is Elder Chola. Another person. Okay, Hawa, you can start. You can take a mic, please, to her.
Happy Sabbath and happy day. So for that verse, the wine that is there is not a literal wine. I would like us to read from the book of, so in the Bible, there are two wines. Yeah, there is the other wine that is harmful, then we have the other wine. So from the book of Psalms chapter 104 verse 15, when you begin from verse 14, he causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth. Verse 15, and wine that maketh glad the heart of man, and oil to make his face to shine, and bread which strengtheneth man's heart. When you go to Judges chapter 9, verse 13, it speaks of the same also. And the vine said unto them, should I leave my wine, which cheereth God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? So wine which cheereth God and man. I think we can reason along here. Can the other wine of the world which ruins human beings cheer God? Like kituka pombe, can it cheer God? Of course no. So in this context, that wine is not the other wine that we're thinking of. Yes.
Thank you, my brother. Happy Sabbath. Happy day. Happy Sabbath. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 19. A feast is made for laughter, and wine makes life merry, but money is the answer for everything. Tukikumbuka vizuri, wana wa Israeli, they had their feasts, and they used to gather anytime they wanted to celebrate things together. So, in my understanding, I think this feast is whereby the people came together to celebrate what the Lord had done for them. Again, we also know that from the Bible, there are people who had vineyards, and they used to make wine. And also in the Bible, the first miracle that Jesus Christ did is changing water into what? Into wine. So, as Hawa has said, there is wine that makes the heart of man glad and inamsifu Mungu, na kuna hii wine nyingine inafanya nini? Aitukuze jina la Mungu. Then tukumbuke pia one of the apostles is telling the elders of the church that they are drinking a lot of wine. Na tunajua kama Jesus mwenyewe alikunywa wine in the last supper, si ndio? In the creation of the wine, tunakaa yetu yenye inatengenezanga kwa Thursday ama Friday, inakunywa lini? Saturday. But these elders walikuwa na extend mpaka ina ferment. So there's a difference in the wine that they used to make. Alafu kuna hii difference ya wine nyingine wata extend wakunywe walewe. So in this verse, a feast is made for laughter. It's just a general feast, na si lazima i-contain, because we know the Jewish feast how zilikuwa. Na the wine, it was just a fresh wine, but money is the answer for everything. Lakini tukumbuke pia another thing, King David, he danced and he drank wine, but later in his life, there are things that he came and said, he came to alikuja kuitikia. Haya mambo yote nilifanya yalikuwa ya nini? Ya bure. Sawa? Thank you. Thank you. You can give it to the next one.
Happy Sabbath. Happy day.
Happy Sabbath.
I think they have answered it. Where we are today, I think we need to grow up on how we read Bible texts and how we interpret. If you want to marry, take wine. The Bible is not wrong when it says you want to be happy, take wine. The question is, which wine? Galatians 5:19-21 says that drunkards will not inherit the kingdom of God. But does all wines lead to drunkenness? That's the big question we need to ask ourselves. Christ turned wine, water into wine. When the king tasted the wine, it tasted so sweet. 20 people were happy at that point. And this wine never made those people to be drunkards. Have you ever seen someone staggering because he has taken Holy Communion? But every day after Holy Communion, we are normally happy. Actually, it tastes so sweet. And many verses in the Bible have warned us against strong drinks, beginning with Isaiah 5:22, Isaiah 5:11. So, we have two kinds of wines. And today you can just go and take grape juice, make your wine and drink. But now when it comes to fermented one, then it now leads to drunkard, which is now wrong part of it.
For the people who have answered, thank you very much. I was also to respond for the case of Jesus Christ, but I think Elder Maxwell, you have tackled it. So, as we read the Bible, we must understand it very well. And it is also my advice to all of us that we must really understand when you read like a verse, then try also to read the one in between. It will give you a clarification. Because I think there was no one who had raised their hand for a comment or a question. You will allow me now to, Isaiah, you want to speak something? A question? Yes, kindly ask it.
Now, I'm confused as we read in the book of Romans chapter 14, verse 2 and 3. I will read it. Romans chapter 14, verse 2 and 3. For one believeth that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. Let not him that eateth despise him that not eateth, and let not him which eateth not judge him that eateth, for God hath received him. So can someone to explain to us the meaning of this verse? Because now it is bringing confusion, especially to me, and I hope members.
Thank you. Yes, I want a clarification, because Romans chapter 14, verse 1 and 2, it is giving him some confusion. Who will answer that? Who will answer that? Let me just see. Another person who wants to answer my brother. Yes, thank you. My brother, you raised the first hand, and then Shikuku, and then my sister Hawa will finish. So take the mic to him, please. Happy Sabbath. Happy day. Happy day. Happy Sabbath.
If we look at the life of the apostles, walikuwa wanaenda wakifunza, let's say wamekuja hapa kutuzwa wakafunza watu, si ndio? Na like people, different apostles had different messages, si ndio? So mimi na kina Joshua tumebaki hapa na tumefunzwa leo mambo ya diet, si ndio? Na tunataka kwenda kupreachia watu, si ndio? Na tukienda tupate watu ngomongo wamefuga nini mbuzi huko. Na tumeambiwa kula nyama ni shida, ni dhambi. Tunaenda tuambia kukula nyama ni nini? Ni dhambi. Kukula nyama ni dhambi. So, okay, what I want to say is that these people, according to that text, they were told that wanafikiria kukula ndio itawaleta kwa Mungu, ama kukataa ndio itawaleta kwa Mungu. Lakini unaweza pata wewe mwenyewe, it's like the Adventist. I was speaking to someone, they told me, unafikiria kukua S.D.A inakugarantii kwenda mbinguni. No, it does not guarantee to go to heaven because you keep the Sabbath. There are some other commandments that you break and you will not go to heaven because of what? Of that. So,
tunaambiwa Mungu has accepted these other people. Mungu ameaccept liars. God has accepted the fornicators to come so that they may know the light. And we are told as a church tunapaswa kukuza watu kama watoto. We start with the breastfeeding, then as the child progresses tunafanya nini? Tunamkuza, na ndio we can introduce vitu kama kidheri. Because let's say tuko na new member, tuanze kumwambia story na Ellen G. White anasema turudi mashambani, sijui kuna like hata get the analogy ama hata get the direction which the church is going. Amen. Thank you.
Happy Sabbath once more.
Happy day.
I think he has said it, but let me say something. When you read that verse contextually, or when you go back to what Paul was referring, he's saying, him that is weak in the faith, receive ye, but not to doubtful disputations. That is verse 1. For one believeth that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. Let not him that eateth despise him that eateth not, and let him which eateth not judge him that eateth, for God hath received him. When you go back to the context of this verse, while it was the reason as to why Paul was writing it this way, there were two classes here. There was the class of the Gentiles, and there was the other class that received Christ earlier. So this other class of the Gentiles walikuwa accept Christ, and they came the way they were, like they were still young in faith. And we have this other class that had known Christ, had known everything concerning what should be done, and they were becoming so bitter to these other people who have just come to faith. And it brought a lot of conflict, and that's why Paul is writing to them that you don't judge them because they have just come into faith and they have come the way they are. Give them time so that they can also learn, because if you become too tough for them and they're Gentiles, they'll go back. Yeah.
Shikuku. And then Newton. Is it Newton? Okay. Shikuku and then Newton.
And I'll finish the point for you. The only advantage that I have is that I'm a little bit taller, so I'm closer to God. And I've prayed so that God can reveal for me something that I should say to this congregation, because I've already risen my hand. Otherwise, I want to say that there is a certain verse that says that kula karatasi, eat what? Eat the paper. I like it. And there is a certain verse that says that when a person is weak in faith, he needs what? To eat milk. And a person who is strong in faith needs to now eat what? Start to eat meat and bones. You know, now when we start speaking about eating, most of the time we only think about doing what? Mouth. But also, Bible sometimes refers to what we learn to be a what? Spiritual food. So when he says that, let those who are eating up not to despise those who are eating what? Meat. I can infer that in earlier time, we know that there was such disunity between people because others see that were more perfect or they know more than the others. But the Bible tried to make us understand that even those who are weak in faith, we have to accept them. I know even in our church, sometimes we try to set ourselves apart and think that we are more special than any other person. But the Bible says that God's thoughts is different with our what? Our own thoughts. And the way God views things is different with the way we view what? We view things. So our only thing that we should do is to do the right thing by accepting them, teaching them, and in progress, they will also eat the meat in due time. Anyways, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, my brother. We can get the comment from Brother Newton in Ukienda Sana, just 1 minute, and then Elder, you will climax. That is Elder Charles. Are we understanding something? Are we learning? Yes, we should be learning, because these are some of the challenges, some of the questions your brother asks, and then you see later, nitakuja siku ingine, unatoroka swali. Newton, please, 1 minute.
The Lord is good, and all the time. Yes, I would like to stand on the shoulders of the commentators that have come before, and also add on what they have said. And number one is that Peter says something about Paul, which is so crucial, that his letters are sometimes hard to understand to them that are simple in understanding, or are the other term of simple, because he didn't want to use a strong term, is those who are foolish may not understand the terms of Paul, because Paul was a learned man. And so he used philosophical statement to dispute points that may be hard to understand by men. I would like to concur with what the tall man or the short man have said, that sometimes food is not merely food as you may think, because what does Christ says during temptation? A man cannot live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth from the mouth of God. Now, and also in this food in this context as well can mean food which is food, right? Now, while Paul is saying that let not him that eateth despise him that eateth not, and let not him that eateth not judge him that eateth. I want you to project verse 5. Verse 5, it says, one man estimeth one day, no, verse 4, I'm sorry. Who art thou that judgest another man's servant? To his own master he standeth or falleth. Yea, he shall be holden up, for God is able to make him stand. And verse 5 says, one man estimeth one day above another, another estimate every day alike. Let every man, I want us to see that one, be fully persuaded in his own mind. Now, it is the unconscious influence that you either win souls for Christ or scatter them abroad. The sermon that we preach in the church are not merely based in the pulpit, but a well-lived life is a sermon that will convert souls that have come to Christ. Number one, I want you to take in this context someone from Sunday church today. Just get in here, pop in. Then let me use my friend Elder Biko, because he will not be upset with me. He stands in pulpit and says, young lady, go back and wear dresses. Here is S.D.A, we don't entertain trousers. Then another one says, and she says that, and make sure you come when you are, hizo plates vile umeweka kama ras zimenyolewa. Now, what will be the difference with if I tell Achola that we acha mchezo, enda utoe pantu kuje kanisani? There is a big difference, right? Right? So there is no point of judging when you cannot consciously influence others while in church. Church is like an hospital. Nurses, you can't, a patient can't come today you give him all doses. Unamdunga hii yote 7 doses at first. Hiyo it is impossible, si ndio? It is progress and progress. Kuna yule alikuja mapema, amepiga dose, amebaki na doses 2. Kuna yule lazima uanze from scratch. And that is how church is always. They need to be sharpened bit by bit. Otherwise, may the Lord bless you.
Thank you. Elder, you can comment.
Yeah, mine is not to answer the question, but is to say, like, when we are reading the Bible, let's consider 3 things. Number 1, the grammatical context. Know how the words apply together with each other. Number 2, the cultural context. You need to know their world before applying it to our world currently. And finally, the historical context. Know what was happening in the world that is in the Bible during that time before now you bring it to our current world. Thank you.
That is very clear, to the point, straight to the point. Cindy, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. And I believe that we have learned. Cindy, if you have learned something, go to your home, try as much as possible, and also pray to God. Purpose from your heart. God is going to help us, because we know that all of us, the goal is one. The goal is that we inherit the kingdom of heaven. So at this moment, I will request all of us, we stand and then we pray. We stand and pray, and then our kind and everlasting Father above in heaven, thank you because you have spoken to us about our health. Lord in heaven, I know that it is somehow very difficult for some of us to accept some of the things, but I'm praying that, my Lord in heaven, may you speak to all of us with your voice, Lord, so that we can be able to understand, to know the way in which we are living today. Help us, my Lord in heaven, as we are preparing all the ways so that we can inherit the kingdom of heaven. Lord in heaven, we really thank you because of the programs from the morning till this time, Lord in heaven. We have learned, Lord, help my brothers and sisters, anything which they have heard today, Lord in heaven, let it be reflected in their daily life. Continue to be with us till the time we'll meet again. In the name of Jesus Christ we pray and believe. Amen. Kindly